John Wick is probably best described as a revenge noir action thriller, which is quite a mouthful for what is really quite a taut film. It's only about 90 minutes and it's a sort of classic revenge tale, although it's told in a very stylish and clever way. It stars Keanu Reeves as John Wick, who is a retired assassin. He's been out of the underworld for 5 years since he met and married a woman called Helen. Helen has just died after a long illness and has left him as a sort of present from beyond the grave, a very cute beagle puppy called Daisy, really to help him with his grief once she's gone. So he's out one day with Daisy and gets into an altercation with some young thugs who find out where he lives and break in that night and kill his puppy and steal his car. His car is his pride and joy. It's a '69 Mustang. And the rest of the film is really him getting his implacable revenge on these hoodlums and anyone associated with him and anyone who gets in his way. It turns out that the chief hoodlum, a young man called Yosef, is the son of Vigo, John's ex-boss from his gangland days. Vigo is a Russian underworld boss, a very charming man. Clearly a man who is trying to break through to respectability, but obviously underneath is extremely violent. And when he realises that it is John who his son has attacked, he knows exactly what's coming. In fact, the sort of myth and legend of John Wick means that whenever his name is mentioned, everyone kind of has a sort of intake of breath, and the stories of what he got up to when he was working are quite extraordinary. There's one that he apparently killed 3 men in a bar with a pencil, which has really struck a chord with people and is referenced very cleverly in the sequel that came out earlier this year. I'm an ex-editor and I often wondered what someone had to do to be killed with a pencil, whether they'd committed some terrible sin like misusing an apostrophe in a ransom note or something like that, but we never really find out. One of the things that they do very well in the film is they create this underworld which and these services that have been set up to help assassins in their jobs. So they have their own coinage. They have these gold coins that look like the chocolate money that you get at Christmas. They have a hotel called the Continental, which is for hitmen and hitwomen. And there's a very strict rule that no business can be conducted on the premises of the Continental. So even if someone's trying to kill you outside, once you step over the threshold, even if you're not friends, you have to be sort of mutually respectful. The punishment for transgressing this rule is so severe that I suspect the Continental is the only hotel in New York that has never lost a bathrobe. There's also an amazing cleaning company where if you do kill somebody, you can call them up and they will dispose of the body. They appear with huge quantities of industrial cling film and window lean and wrap the body up and leave the scene of the crime looking pristine. So it's very clever the way they build this world. It's quite a male film. Most of the women are either dead or serving behind a bar. There is one real kick-ass assassin called Miss Perkins who clearly has a history with John. She's played by Adrienne Palicki, and it'd be really nice to find out what they've been up to in the past if we ever get a prequel. I think a prequel to John Wick would be an absolutely fantastic film. It's a very violent film. There's a lot of shooting, a lot of very long scenes that seem to be done in one take of fighting. You do see the consequences of the violence. So you see people get injured and limping and having to carry on. John Wick particularly having to carry on even though he's very badly injured. And actually the violence is quite beautiful to watch. It's kind of balletic. Keanu Reeves is such a physical performer that it's quite joyous to watch. I don't particularly like violent films. I've spent the last 7 years treading on Lego in the middle of the night, so I know pain. And I try not to seek it out in other situations. But I certainly didn't watch it and feel this film is too violent. It fits very well with the story that they are trying to tell. And the story is, in many ways, batshit crazy. It's somehow you believe it while you're watching it. It's played very straight, although there's some sort of black comic moments. But it seems to really work in the confines of the film and the world that they've created. So it seems perfectly, I suppose, normal while you're watching it. It's very clever that they've done that. The film looks very dark, a lot of the scenes are at night. It's raining a lot, or they're in nightclubs with these sort of red and blue, sort of garish lights, and this nihilistic music playing in the background. So it's a very, very stylish film. The supporting cast are excellent. I think that's one of the reasons they get away with this slightly mad storyline. So you've got Willem Dafoe as another hitman. Michael Nyqvist plays the charming underworld gangland boss Vigo. Alfie Allen is his son Yosef, who's really very good. I used to not be particularly impressed with him, but I've seen him in a couple of things. He was also in Pandemic, which is a low-budget zombie film. He's also very good in that. So I think he's pretty good in John Wick as well. And also Ian McShane plays Winston, who is the manager of the Continental. And really, although there's no subplot to John Wick, there is this a constant, almost philosophical question, often posed by Winston, as to whether John can really ever escape his past. He thinks he's just dipping his toe in, and then as soon as he's sorted out this business, he'll be gone. But after what he's done in the past, can he ever really escape it, or is it always going to pull him back? And a lot of people ask this question of him, particularly Winston, who seems to have a sort of fatherly interest in him. It's a very good film. It's a very stylish film. It's not a particularly long film. There's not much dialogue in it, and I think with Keanu Reeves, it's true that when he's in the right film for him, he really carries it, and if he's miscast, it's a complete disaster, and this one is absolutely the right film for him, and he's absolutely brilliant in it. So even if you don't like action films, I would say this is an action film you probably would enjoy.